go on preaching, spread this Krishna consciousness all over the world. Then, if you are taking up the responsibility for that, to work very cool-headedly in this way, then you are understanding rightly what is the point of giving our energy without any personal considerations to Krishna. So try to develop Boston Temple to be the first-class temple in your country. Why your country? In the world. The first-class temple in the world. How you're carrying on. I didn't make it. I didn't make it. Carrying on.
It's like on behalf of Srila Prabhupada, you're instructing all of us.
Recruit. Now this is also very, very interesting. Note this next line. We'll make photocopies. Recruit some educated men from the colleges, schools in Boston. Recruit some educated men from the universities, colleges here. Train them up for preaching mission. Train them up for going on book distribution, Sankirtan preaching. In this way, develop the quality of your men to be the most surrendered servants of Krishna. That will please Krishna, and you will feel also yourself becoming more and more happy and perfecting your life. Upon your recommendation, those 3 devotees were initiated. I don't have the part where it says who they were, those 3 devotees. So, then the next one, this is really was one of my favorite. It's not only on the because it's about me, so it's embarrassing. My dear Tradas, please accept my blessings. I am in receipt of your letter dated December 2nd, 1973. This is the next year, 1973. Thank you very much for pushing on our book distribution program so enthusiastically. Kindly offer all the devotees there my deepest gratitude for their wonderful service in this connection. I do. Papa's giving your deepest gratitude for all your service in this connection. I understand from Karander, the BBT trustee, GBC, that you are one of the most staunch supporters and workers for distributing our books. And I assure you, listen to this, I assure you that it is the highest service to my own heart. Thank you very much. I hereby accept it. So this keeps me going. Letters. But it applies, like I said, it applies to whoever the resident devotees are present here. It's the same. So we have to become a staunch supporter and worker for distributing our books. If we want Prabhupada to thank us very much, at least. I hereby accept the devotees you have recommended as my duly initiated disciples, and their names are as follows: Edward Shapiro, Vasugopal, Donald, Narendra, Ernest, Nitasiddha, Gary, Krishnarchana, Michael, Budara, I don't know where he is. The others are Vasugopal's here nearby. Do you remember? So, never heard from him since then.
Is he the Michael?
It's been a long time. Budara, I know, he's in England. Edward Harigada, I've never heard from him. I don't know where they are. And Rita, Govinda Balabadasi, she left her body actually. Rupanuga Maharaj may chant their beads. Take good care of them all and always be. So this, the important thing in this letter is that the Prabhupada says, I hear, come on. The second part of the letter. I hereby accept the devotees you have recommended. How can Prabhupada do that if he wasn't present? They say, well, he accepted. How could he say, I accept him as my disciple if he's not physically present? That's an interesting problem. As my duly initiated disciples, and Rupanuga, even him, because you have to remember, he was 73, he was saying the maximum push in India was travel around constantly in India, opening, beginning temples, like in Mumbai. So he made this arrangement. It was never heard of before in Vedic culture, never happened in the history of Vedic culture. The Guru is on the other side of the world, and he's initiating disciples on the other side of the world. and it's by letter, and these are being sent. So this is Prabhupada, but Prabhupada is the Acharya, founder Acharya of ISKCON. He can make these adjustments, of course, because there was never a worldwide movement before in history. So actually Prabhupada had to make adjustments. So take good care of them all and always be an example for them to follow in Krishna consciousness. That's always the present, give a good example and take care of them. These are the, and this next one, they're all very important in our section, particularly addressed to Boston ISKCON. This one is from March 4th, 1970. Actually, that's before the letter I just read. I mixed up the order. This is from March 4th, the spring of 1973. Dear Trai, please accept my blessings. I beg to acknowledge receipt of your nice report. This because presidents were allowed to write once a month to show probably get it meant giving a report about book distribution, deity worship, what's going, everything that's happening at the temple. And I have carefully, otherwise how could probably run an international movement by post? Say, yeah, the temple president, he expected. And after some time, he started having the temple presidents give their report to the GBC, their local GBC. And then the GBC would put them all together and send the province. But fortunately, still, at this time, they were still able to give direct personal report to Srila Prabhupada. Your plans for increasing book distribution are very good. If so many books are being sold, then very soon we will be finished the second edition. Distribution of all these books is making a firm basis for our this is a longer one. The educated gentleman you mentioned who has now become a nice devotee should develop it into a very good preacher. Can't remember his name. He was I think he was a professor or something. He started coming, became a devotee. Prabhupada was very, very pleased with that, an educated gentleman, that's what Prabhupada called this educated gentleman you mentioned has now become a nice devotee and should develop into a very good preacher, saying with that letter, which says, train your men to be good devotees and qualified preachers. He wanted people from the university to become devotees, trained up and become preachers, because they're more educated, they're able to affect the society where they're able to preach more intelligent ways. Your policy of encouraging his chanting is good. Gradually, Krishna consciousness is developed. That is natural. This next one is interesting also. That London doctor that Keshava mentioned to Rupanuga Maharaj is bogus. Depend on Krishna. This is they were going to some Ayurvedic doctor. Sometimes around the movement, the devotees have a tendency to get captured by the latest magical cure, magical doctor, or healer, whatever. They seem to be quite have a tendency to get drawn by these things, even though they're not necessary. I'm not saying that natural cures are not bona fide, and that Ayurveda is not bona fide, but Prabhupada is saying that many of them are not qualified, let's say. So he said, the London doctor, the Keshava mentioned, Rupanuga Maharaj is bogus. Depend on Krishna and consult a general doctor. Nobody can guarantee life. It is a little hellish, but without Krishna, nobody can be a saint or relieved from distresses. So this is about initiation here. Regarding Pyari Muhammad, this is Pyari Muhammad, which you all know about Pyari Muhammad. Saturday. This is his second initiation. And also Pyari Muhammad, Ramacharya, and Nanda Devi, the devotee we spoke to yesterday. Taking second initiation. If you recommend, that's all right. And now he's saying it, if you recommend that, it's okay. But, listen to what the Prophet says, but now they must keep very clean and never break the regulative principles. Because in the beginning it was kind of automatic, 6 months, first initiation, another 6 months. This was when everyone lived in the temple. There was no such thing as somebody living outside the temple, taking initiation. It was only devotees who lived in the temple full time service. And therefore it was assumed that if you were living in the temple, then you're following everything. But it was beginning to see that some people would take second initiation and they weren't so qualified. So it was advising some caution. But now they must keep very clean. And he said this many times, clean. Brahman means clean. That's the most important qualification. Aside so many other qualifications, but it must be clean. And never break the regular principles. Purity is the force. And if the people in general notice that we are clean, both inside and outside, that is our credit. Like it was mentioned, yes, I know now it's a festival, it's been Janmasara, it's festival, but I hope that afterwards things will get back up to clean standard. We used to do, like I said, after breakfast, always for cleaning every angle of the temple. All together. Regarding your last question, here we go. Regarding your last question, yes, you may call their lordships Radha Gopi Bala. Shri Radha Gopi Bala ki jai.
Because installation happened long before, right?
What's that?
Installation happened.
Yeah, but he didn't give name. He gave it, so it's Radha Krishna. In many temples at that time, they were getting installation. They were giving special name, Radha Parasishwara, Radha Madanishwara. So many, it was a norm, but somehow they didn't give the name here. So I asked the room, said, can we ask properly the name for the Jesus? So he gave it, and it's written, it's printed here. So some people say, oh no, maybe he made a mistake of speaking, it would be Janabalaba, but he wrote Bala. So that's also, it's not only. Now I have enclosed 3 sacred threads duly chanted by me. In Rupanuga Maharaj's absence, you may obtain a tape and instructions from Bali Mardana Maharaj in Europe for fire sacrifice. Any questions or comments?
Oh, why it is written like this? Regarding your last question, yes, you may call. That means he already suggested the name. Did you suggest the name?
No.
He asked.
No, he said regarding your last question, yes, you can call them by this name. Not that I suggested, no. He said, yes, you can call them by this name. That he gave, not somebody else. This is another these are all really directly applicable to the Boston Temple here. This is about the reparations on the 40 North Beacon Street Temple, because at least when I got there, it was pretty run down. And there was a lot of broken windows, people, because these hoodlums, they would come and they'd throw rocks at the windows. And so we were fixing it up. We had a contractor fixing it up. And I reported the problem, but he says, please accept my blessings. I beg to acknowledge receipt of your special delivery letter of July 17th, 1972. This is also, I read the other out of time. This is there was one in the spring and this one in July. I have carefully examined the Prabhupada said, I've carefully examined, just to have you understand that he's reading everything.
I have carefully
Carefully examined. I'm reading very carefully your letter, your report. Because Prabhupada had to run a worldwide movement by letter, and he was traveling constantly. So he would take very seriously these. In fact, he chastised me. Another letter to get to. He said, you didn't send your report to the GBC. He made me chastise. So he says, I'm glad to hear from you that everything is in order at our Boston temple and that the house is nearing completion in repairs and rehabilitation. This will very much, note this one, this will very much increase the prestige of our Boston Center so that respectable people will come and sit and hear about Krishna consciousness. It's very important to have a very well kept, very clean, very beautiful temple, very beautiful deity worship, so that respectable people, proper what? We know that our movement started, there was most of us were hippies and there was many young people. And at that time, we thought there was the only people that were going to become devotees. We thought that that was the movement. But Prabhupada, that wasn't his intention. He said that's what Krishna said. This one's. Thank you. One doesn't work. But Prabhupada wanted respectable people, intelligent people, educated people to come and take up Krishna consciousness. And what was I going to say? I'll just take it like this. It'll make, I'm a little allergic.
Oh, sorry.
As is right on other matters as well. He always, after some years, if you're a devotee, you'll find you start get allergic to incense and flowers. Just like the example that in Los Angeles, they purchased the first big temple in 1970, that were the same temple that's there now, Sikha. And it was a church, it was a Christian church at the time. And it had all the seats in it. And devotees had naturally had the idea, because they thought they were supposed to be like in India. They took all the seats out and made the temple floor like this. Prabhupada was very upset. He said, "No, I want that you keep the podium. It's like a stand that the priest would stand behind, and keep all the seats so that respectable people could sit comfortably and hear about Krishna." He wanted to adjust to facilitate people in the West to come and hear about Krishna, to become Krishna conscious. So then, what's that? I wasn't in Los Angeles, but I saw the temple. Just got it. Yeah, and he probably wanted them to leave the seat, leave everything as it is, so that the same respectable people would come and feel at ease, feel it in their natural situation to be able to hear it. Because the main thing is to hear about Krishna, not whether sit on the floor or sit on the seat, it's to hear about Krishna. So, please do not worry, if I can explain this whole story. Please do not worry regarding some rumors that were being circulated here by outsiders about the Boston ISKCON Temple. Boston ISKCON Temple, I'll have to tell you, it was famous in those days as the Brahmachari Temple. It had women stay in the corner. You remember? And so some people were complaining to Prabhupada, some devotees complained to Srila Prabhupada. But then I explained that we weren't, it wasn't true, we weren't treating them badly or. It's just that's the way of some number. Mostly brahmacharis, Germans, and there's maybe 2, 3 brahmacharinis. And other than that, everyone was taking the same prasadam, everyone was coming to class, the same. The brahmachari ashram, there was no water, there was on Beacon Street.
No warm water.
No. Even in winter time. And there was a shower. It was kind of long like this, and it was so cold that it would become ice. The floor of the shower. just to say that it was not that the brahmacharis were living comfortably. Made the brahmacharis live in an uncomfortable situation. It was austere for everyone. And yeah, there was ice on the floor. There was even one devotee, Uttamaja, remember him? Because it was a little long, the shower. So we'd all be waiting to go into the shower, and he would turn it on and stand in the back. So he didn't actually take a shower. It was so cold he couldn't handle it. And so he would stand in the back and pretend the water was going down. Because in those days it was 30-second shower, 30-second shower. You had 30 seconds for a shower because there was a line of just waiting. That was a standing stress.
I think Prabhu was not there. Not there.
No, I think this. Were you ever in North Beacon Street, or did you join here?
Moved in here. Started.
Then you moved in here, so you saw the place. So someone complained to Prabhupada, and then I assured him, I explained everything they were saying. He said, okay. So he says, I can understand the actual position from your letter. So please push on with all programs as you are doing. Generally, Srila Prabhupada did not appreciate criticism by devotees outside, criticize the temple president, criticize the temple. Definitely, he never took the side of those who were criticizing. He said, just follow the leader. There may be some deviation, there may be some problem, but you should still follow the leader as long as he's there. Otherwise, you create confusion. Otherwise, you create difficulty, and everything will go down. You can appeal to the authorities, to GBC, and explain that there's some problem. He's not doing this. Something is going wrong. But you shouldn't make backbiting propaganda or complaining. But you should go to the proper authorities. If there's the authority above the temple president, GBC, and then explain them this is maybe wrong. They can speak with them and investigate and see what's wrong, but not by criticizing behind the back to other people. That simply creates confusion, disturbance, and problems. It's been happening since the beginning of the movement, so don't be surprised. It's something it's an old story. The Prabhupada was questioned. I remember there was Siddhavodi. He had his problems, and he was the president of the temple, but he had developed the temple nicely, things were going on nicely. And some devotees outside, they were criticizing. Prabhupada answered, he said, the dogs may bark, but the carrier. He did not appreciate it. He said, at least you're doing something. So what are they doing? In fact, we find that nowadays the internet is an unlimited ocean. People give criticism. But most of them, I can tell you, most of them, they haven't done anything for spreading Krishna consciousness. So last year, except complain and criticize. So Prabhupada would definitely not. He said, do something positive, instead of complaining about the other one. He's the authority. Do something positive yourself. And, so that was about this story. Something that, like I said, happens so many times. I'm enclosing one Brahmin thread chanted on by me for Maturesh Das. You may play the tape of me speaking Gayatri Mantra into his right ear and instruct him in the duties of Brahmin. We have to be real Brahmins, not just in name, and in that way we can set an example for the whole civilized society. You can see Prabhupada was always thinking of the whole world. He was always thinking of how spreading Krishna consciousness to everyone all over the world. This is a real quick one. This is just initiation. Quick clip. So I'm glad to hear that the Boston Temple is looking up. Enclosed, please find one mantra and thread will be chanted by Maji and hold a fire ceremony to distribute prasad. And it's not written who that was. I'm not even sure who it was. There's no name for it. This is a first initiation letter. You may know one of these, you may know, I'm sure you know one of the two. Please accept my blessings. I beg to acknowledge receipt of your letter dated August 30th, 1973. In the best of 1972-73, that's when I was able to write reports to Prophet. Simply simple answers.
74, 75, it was to GBC.
Yeah, it became, the GBC would gather the reports from all the temples in his area and then make one report to Srila Prabhupada, although it was becoming too much. 100 temples, 100 reports, all Prabhupada personally look at them.
Then how you get the instructions and reply for
Through the
specific
GBC.
GBC will give you the comments.
Because we know that it developed like that first problem was that there was just 15, 20 devotees probably personally did each one of them. Then gradually temple presidents, then they formed the GBC, and because it's movement, there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of devotees. It has to be a structure and organization. That's awesome. So the two boys are gladly accepted by me. Here again, we see there's no question of there is it is Ritvic, but not what they say nowadays. It means if you're just a priest during the ceremony, but Prabhupada personally, physically present, accepts. I gladly accepted by me your recommendation of the temple president, and Prabhupada would accept them officially, spiritually, from that side. Their names are as follows. Radha is called Kamala's son, Das. He's in birth. And Peter is Kushan. Peter Shravan. No, Peter Shravan.
I called it.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, it couldn't come.
Yeah, this was his initiation letter. He did this. Please give them good instructions regarding our Krishna consciousness philosophy. Depend on the temple presence there to instruct the devotees of the temple. And hold a fire ceremony and distribute nice prasadam to all the devotees. Focus on ritual. Meet, and again, he would have his senior devotees chant on the beads. Because it became a problem. They tried at first, well, my beads they sent. I also got initiated like this. See? And the 71 problem was in Goa. And it was in February 21st. Okay. And, he sent the beads by mail. That was a problem. There were reasons for steal that. So he said, here in America, that GBC, they can chant the beads.
So beads will be chanted by GBC sometimes.
Yeah. Contrary to opinion that that's the personal chant of the beads. Prabhupada made this arrangement for worldwide preaching worldwide. Because Prabhupada was spending a lot of time in India, and there was devotees, new devotees were coming, devotees wanted to take initiation. He couldn't wait until he came back, and he wouldn't come anymore to all the temples. So they made this arrangement. And many devotees, I even know one devotee in Italy, he never even saw it, never even mentioned it, never saw it. Never even saw it. But that spiritual connection is there through the organization of ISKCON, through the temple president, GBC. Thank you. Any other questions or curiosities? As you go along during the day, if you think of things, you can ask. Want me to come and help you today? We'll spend more time together. Yes.
So the cleaning and sorry, that's not very the cleaning and transportation services, how they were taking care of cleaning, especially now. only that most of the devotees were full-time devotees.
Yeah, they're all full-time
And
members.
now resident as well as the devotees who are staying here, but I thought full-time students and working devotees.
Hmm.
So taking care of all the services on becomes difficult. So that's how suggest, how was the situation during that time, and how we suggest in kind of scenario we have to give our services.
In those days, it was easy. Temple president said, okay, everybody clean. Everybody is in the temple, they were fully dependent, nobody was working outside. It's fully dependent on the temple. And so he said, if you live here, you have to clean. So it was quite simple. It wasn't that simple because it's not that everybody was completely surrendered, even though they lived in the temple. It's not that. There were quite a few characters, let's say. So it wasn't always easy. But I think you have to have delegate. You have to have an organization, people who live outside, people who students, that they have a service. Just imagine Jagannath Puri. Have you been to Jagannath Puri? There's 6,000 devotees who do services at the temple. And it's all highly organized. That I do this. I take this and I put it and I move it over to here. They all know what their services are. It's all all programmed and organized and listed and everything. And they all have their service. Some of them have that service for generations. Their family does that service. They chop the wood for the fires, or they bring the preparations onto the stove like that. So it has to be very systematic. Because if you have many people and they can only do a little part, like these devotees there, then it has to be like super computerized. This day, you do this service exactly, and everybody knows they get their instructions on that. You need to delegate somebody really into that kind of technological organizational. It doesn't mean the president has to do it all himself. There should be someone who could organize it, make a list of all the services, make a list of all the people available, when they're available. You should write it up and put it all together. That's practical suggestion. I know it's easier said than done. Have to try to delegate and give services that people know that every Friday afternoon at 3:00, I clean the facade. And we have it on the list. Facades aren't clean. So and so, why didn't you clean the facade? It has to be all. Now, of course, this is festival. This is the third major festival that you've been through the last few weeks, practically. So it's to be expected that things are not the way they're normally. So, but in normal times, not festival time, in normal times, that can be organized like that. Like I said, we were all living in the temple, it was easy. Relative. Not everybody was cooperative. Relative. I don't know if that's useful.
So that time, whether some full-time grastas are also there in Boston Temple when you were there,
I was,
whether you were there.
but living next door to the temple.
Also.
We had a lot of brahmacharis.
You'd be paying separate rent for that, or how?
That's a long story. I was full-time doing distribution. Full discussion. Different reality nowadays. I know many of the temple presidents are from America. They're Indian background. They work full-time and then they're president of the temple. He's not the only, there's others in Dallas, Houston, and so many places. That wasn't the reality in those days. Usually devotees in those days who were even Vyasta, they were full-time. They were kind of dependent on the temple. working full time. But that's not the reality nowadays. This is where Krishna Prabhupada chastises. So, please accept my blessings in his last, because this is in 1974, the year after when Prabhupada started compiling reports, giving to, the GBC would compile the reports and give his report to Prabhupada. I remember I was a little disappointed because before I would send it personally to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada sent a letter, so now I had to send it to him, and I could know our letter. Wouldn't necessarily get a letter from Prabhupada, so I was a little reluctant to send him the report. So he complained to Prabhupada that I wasn't sending him the report. In his last GBC report, Rupanuga Maharaj wrote that you are delinquent in sending his regular reports. The system of temple presidents sending twice a month, the accounts, preaching programs, distribution, deity worship, you wanted to give full report twice a month. To the GBC was devised by me, Robinson, devised by me. He said, I made up the system for a worldwide organization. And now there's 100 temples. Now there's 1,000, maybe 1,000. To facilitate my receiving news of all the centers through the GBC, you are this was nice. You are free to write me directly when the occasion arises, but do not neglect to send regular reports to Rupa. I hope everything is going well in the Boston Temple, and I will be glad to see you at our Mayapur meeting. This was the first year that many of these temple presidents came to the festival. So I was the only one. I was the president that came for that year. Everyone got sick. The hygiene was really bad. And, they were making buffalo milk, puris fried. Potato salad. And after a few days, everyone was sick. Everybody was all you could hear all around the building was. So when I lost. I'm relatively skinny, but I lost, I think, like 10 kilos, which is like 20 pounds. And I had dysentery. It was like, and everyone had to go back to India again. That was it for me. And I remember coming back to the temple, and it was all like, they're all Western, right? They're all like eyes like this. What happened to you? It's like, it looked terrible. It was like that. And nobody asked me to go to India. Generally, always a problem, it was, I'm going to go to India, I want to go to this. The problem child. Nobody asked me to come. After they saw me, that's what's going to happen to me. So it was. So this is the last one. This is a special one also. It's almost 9 o'clock. We'll be right on time. So please accept my blessings. I beg to acknowledge receipt of your letter dated April 25th, 1974. It wasn't 74. Upon your recommendation, I have accepted Neil Byers as my initiated disciple, and his new spiritual name is Das at that time. Keep it carefully now. Keep it carefully. He was jokes. I always tell me, you take care of me, Maharaj. You're much. I'm going like the you went to come back and take care of me. Krishna consciousness means to create ideal men. So you must set the example. So many times God said you must set the example to create ideal men. You must set the example of following the rules and chanting Hare Krishna mantra and see that others are doing it also. I'm enclosing Brahman threads and Gayatri mantra for Adhikeshava and Viviswanadas. And there were Sankirtan brahmacharis. Viviswana, I think he's still in Florida somewhere. Adhikeshava we won't mention, it's a long story.
Is it the same artificial model that brainstorming, brainwashing?
I was the other one in the brainwashing story.
Oh,
There were two of us. I always mentioned his name, but we both got arrested at the same time, the same day. We were both in the court case together. That's a whole nother story. There's a time on Monday or whatever, time or tomorrow morning, I can tell you that also. Not from the Leland region. So I was there in jail. Because I was a Sankirtan leader and he was the president. And so I had
Adhikeshap.
Adhikesha was the president. There's a lot of other things about him. I won't say it on the recording. And what is this?
Which temple it was for?
New York, big skyscraper, temple building. But because I was a Sankirtan leader, and we had one Mataji, she was Sankirtan devotee, and they kidnapped her parents. They did the whole thing, kidnapped her. And the other was a Brahmachari, St. Edward Shapiro, the one I read initiation for. His father was a doctor here in Newton, and they also kidnapped him. And then they pressed charges against us, and as the Sankirtan leader in the temple, there's charges against us. That's why I'll explain it. It's quite a elaborate story. All the reasons behind. So I'm enclosing Brahman threads in Gayatri Mantra for Adhikeshwar Das and Vivaswan Das. You must be very careful before you. This is again Prabhupada's caution. Please don't recommend. He said it's not necessary that everyone, in the very beginning, just to get things going properly. After 6 months, they gave the second initiation, but like Radha, she doesn't give second initiation to somebody just because they put initiated for years. Only if they have. You must be very careful before you award the brahminical thread by recommending a man to me. Now that we are dividing our society, this is 1974. Now that we are dividing our society into the four orders as much as possible, it is not that every man has to be made a Brahmana after a year, especially if one cannot even get up early and go to Mangalarti. He cannot become. I'm not so favorable also devotees living outside, taking birth. I know rather than Maharshi's primarily only those who occasionally someone who's actually seriously going to go up to the deity worship. Otherwise, there's no need. You can go back to God with Harina guarantee. Definitely go back to God. That even if you don't have the diksha, back to God, that the whole process in this age is the whole Diksha. So even if you bring the rest of your life with when the first initiation, absolutely no problem. It's meant for rabbinically inclined, the eighth person with rabbinical nature, and study the Shastra, teach the Shastra. That's what it's for. Otherwise, I would say very clear, it's not necessary. I don't know, I'm not sure about it. So consider carefully before you recommend further men to me. Sometime in the past, Rupanuga Maharaj reported that you were not sending it twice back. Well, this is the second case. That you were not sending him regular reports so he could compile the GDC report to me. Please cooperate with him in this so our huge organization can run smoothly in all its parts. But the speaker announced has to be organized. Reverend Wisher is left alone. Swami Shri. You can go on with others if you want me to do it tomorrow morning. I don't know if tomorrow morning we have time to give if you want. Or later.
We will do.
What is it?
Only there till then. Till when only there.
Today is Guru Maharaj. What are you doing today? Or tomorrow? What is the program tomorrow? Because Friday is the first day of the festival.
Yeah, tomorrow morning. Go today, some
Just, they've already started to come even today, some tonight, so they'll do a program tomorrow. Jadananda Maharaj is coming?
No, but still,
Janardhan from Vrindavan.
Oh, the one from Vrindavan.
He was here in this temple.
I always think of him in Vrindavan. I always think, but this is the way he says it, how the announcements after the story says the same way. Welcome to Sri Vrindavan. That's what I remember. Okay, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
we're here till when?
Monday,
Monday.
Monday afternoon, 4 o'clock.
Monday. We have time.
Time.
Today also we have to that. We split on time.
Okay. So when are you going out?
I think one same.
Same time? Maybe 1:30 because I'm gonna have my own lunch because I keep eating all spicy things.
Did you get Konoha yesterday?
No, they didn't make it. But you have to have some vegetables with it, but not. Yeah, dal is okay, but all the
Spicy down.
yeah chapatis.
Chapati.
Chapati, you know, and some vegetables, but not oily, hot, spicy.
Yeah.
Like,
So who's taking place? We have so about the person. Oh,
whatever.
no.
As long as I can get enough to, but I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go back to the place now and have to make my own.
No. I make it's like he makes.
No, I'm sorry. I forgot to tell you.
For lunch, I will make.
Okay.
Spices.
No, breakfast I'll take care of myself.
No.
Yes. I already have them.
What it is? When did I ask you? Well,
I never would. Because I was making.
can you write us? Okay, he'll take care of it.
What time you taking? What time?
12:31.
Yeah. 12:30.
So you come, let us take whatever little bit pressure at this breakfast. Some fruits you can take.
No, I have rather. I want something.
But today you will get to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
Chapatis.
Now it's a chapati.
Steam veg.
okay.
I didn't want to make it think of something else. All these senior devotees start coming in when they're a certain age and become crazy.
So using afternoon it is without spices food. Only thing is one
Yeah. So yes, it's normal, but now he using it. So no, just take care of it. Okay. So next 3 days. So you want the lunch like that? Okay, and morning breakfast? Okay, and what about the dinner?
I eat some nuts and that.
You have the fruits here. We have.
Yeah.
No, we have. Okay, so let's go upstairs. Okay, you have to go there.
Should I go out and book distribution thing or should I come with you?
Uh,
I'd love to come and stay with you.
yeah. What time you're going to?
Wow.
So before that, we spend some time. Hmm? What time?
Tell me what time because I'm gonna go, then I can come back.
No, what time we have lunch? Because for lunch,
Yeah, I can come back before that.
yeah, come before that.
So we can come back 11:30, 11. So we'll have to lunch. I'm gonna stay before. Let you stay with the. Everything like this.
Next. अभी मुझे
इनका
They made a good clean. I would stop and get them. I'd go to the installation as the entry. I don't have.
माता जी बेटा
So, we can come. I will also show you the vitamins. I can drop it. So you want it?
Just as long as walk this out to stop off.
Okay. No, you can take it there and not. Up to you.
Yeah, no, it's the Christian.
Oh, you know that.
And it was pretty good.
Come, I'll take it.
Okay.
Come, let's go.
I have to go upstairs and. And,
What will take?
You have it. I shall have to stop.
शिवराम शर्मा नाम गोविंदम हरिगुरु
We have four syllables.
So you have to.
What do you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. There's a lot to be considered.
That's what the program is hoping. You want?
Yeah, that's controversial. It says the machine allowing sap from trees. Something like this. That's actually. It's can be considered the same like, the date bomb. That technically would be. So according to Bible, sap, like fully washing. Yeah, it's just 5 minutes. And now we'll be waiting.